Alrighty, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. We have got ourselves what should be an exciting Terran versus Zerg. Today, it's going to be Phobos taking on Tito. Here on the map Torches, so a TVZ, Terran versus Zerg, but more importantly, bot versus bot match, where everything's different from human games that we're familiar with. So we've got the speed mining kicking in for both of these bots to bring in as much money as possible by exploiting the Starcraft engine. And yes, we'll just see how this one goes, as we do have Tito opening with a very early spawning pool. Phobos, on the other hand, says it's planning a 2-1-1 drop, but that might be a bit difficult if it's potentially getting Ling or Roach rushed. Ladies and gentlemen, before we get too far into this game, though, make sure to go ahead, click that like button. If we can get 1 like for every APM these bots have, that would be great. Leave a comment down below saying more bots. You can write your shopping list down there. I don't know. Yeah, your comments do help us with the YouTube bot, so go ahead and write more bots. And then subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you're newer to the bot scene and you want to get involved in the community, check out the links down below. Go to aiarena.net if you want to get started programming your own bot to compete on the ladder, where it maybe one day will play or beat Phobos and Tito. And then, yeah, big thanks to everyone that's a YouTube member. If you want to get the bonus video every week, consider becoming a YouTube member with the button down below. The bonus video this week is Tito versus Argobot, I believe, which was a good one. So let's see, as we did have Tito kill, actually got a Reaper, pardon me. We're going to do a rewind. Yeah, the Reaper, I knew it. It got caught against these rocks, the debris that breaks a lot of bots' pathing. So that means Phobos doesn't have the Reaper to defend against this early Ling rush. All Phobos has is 1 Marine, and notably, there's no wall on the high ground. I feel like Phobos might be getting called on its greedy lack of wall, so we're going to see SCVs microing against these Lings. Fortunately, bots with their just unlimited APM can actually micro workers to great effect against small numbers of units. And now Phobos does lose the one other Marine that it produced, so SCVs do get pulled off the line once again. Fortunately, Phobos has been repairing its SCVs, so as it pulls more off the line, it shouldn't have too many losses, although the Ling count of Tito is growing. Tito is bottlenecked by larva here, as early Zerg rushes can sometimes get, as with speed binding, that's even more of a problem. Another Reaper of Phobos pops out. It does go down. There's a Hellion, and SCV is doing work against the Lings of Tito. Tito is running more Lings across the map as this goes on, so the SCVs of Phobos have had to put in a lot of work. And yeah, Phobos, this is something I've known about Phobos for a while, that it doesn't necessarily wall maybe when it should do, and so it is taking a bit of a beating in the early game as it's lost 9 SCVs, 2 Reapers. Tito, of course, has committed to over 30 Zerglings, but it won't get that Hellion. The Zerg bot behind this does have a natural base up, and so economically Tito could drone up if it wants to, whereas Phobos is still going for that 2-1-1, I guess, although we haven't seen the starport. And this may be a bit of a different 2-1-1 than I thought, as we're getting Reapers and Hellions still being produced. Third barracks is actually going up from Phobos, so just one basing it for now. And Tito will probably not be able to get any more damage done with these Zerglings. Phobos has Reapers, it's got Hellions, grenades getting thrown down, Lings get bounced to their death. And yeah, so Tito may need to start transitioning here. We'll see if it does or not, whether it's going to keep committing to this aggression. We've got Lings hanging outside of the vision of the Reapers. They're like, I think there's a unit up there. And so they're wisely not going up, but there we go. They do actually decide to pull the trigger to attack on in, but yeah, Phobos just has way too much stuff. Hellions, Reapers, and now Marines to subsidize the army a little bit. And then, yeah, Lings of Tito are still trying to get on these Hellions, but Phobos has very good pullback micro. Tito is attacking some of these rocks out on the map, but it's going to have bigger problems as the Reapers of Phobos are rolling on up. Tito's got 2 queens out to defend, but only 12 Zerglings. A Roachhorn is being constructed. The concern, though, is that Phobos can just micro against these Lings. As soon as a Ling gets close to a unit, it can just pull back. Looks like maybe one of the Reapers will go down. Phobos is pushing on in, though. Tito's now got 4 queens on the front lines trying to hold on. Queens are pretty good against Reapers and Hellions. I'm not sure if Phobos could potentially just break this and dive the queens, as one of the Hellions does go down. Tito is holding on top of the ramp. We do have roaches being produced. Behind this, Phobos is going into that 2-1-1 with, well, yeah, it's a 3-1-1. I don't know. There's stim. There's +1 on the way. That's what I'm talking about. So there will be some more beefy bio getting produced. The Terran bot, though, is still only on 1 base, which isn't great. We are only 6 minutes into the game, but a lack of expansion may eventually catch up with Phobos. We do have 2 Reapers maybe getting caught in the pocket. We'll see if they can make it on out of there. We get a grenade to bounce the queen, and the Reapers do successfully jump out of there, but the ramp of Tito is just too strong to break. There's armored roaches sitting on top of there, and the Marines of Phobos don't really have the upgrades to handle this, so Phobos is being driven back by Tito, which is probably more than happy to skirmish with its roaches because they will eventually be able to burrow to regen that HP. And yeah, roaches do a very good job against non-upgraded Marines. Behind this, Phobos is still just producing off of 1 base. We're getting Medivac, Cyclones, Marauders on the way. And then Tito is on 2 bases, getting up its 4th gas, actually, but still only 31 drones. So things are looking good for Tito the longer this goes on. But may need to squeeze out some more drones at some point, but that is only after it's been able to repel this next attack, as Phobos has the Medivac healing up some of the Marines. Interesting pathing on the Marines. It looks like they were almost trying to get around the Zerg units, but that is unfortunately not going to be an option. These Marines may have to fight the Roaches, but Roaches just do so well against Marines that do not have Combat Shield. The Marines have +1 for Phobos, but yeah, I think Combat Shield would be very important. Now, Phobos has got a Cyclone out, it's got a Marauder out. Those units are moving forward to join up, but we see that the Terran army is just not enough to handle this bulk of Zerg roaches, and Tito is investing in lots of tech. Look at this. We've got a Hydra Den done. There's now range on the way, +1 attack, pneumatized carapace, and a Lurker Den. So Tito's spending lots of money on future tech, which, if it can get that out, it will be in a very good position. Still, though, another minute could be scary, as Phobos is leading in the army supply, and there is a Raven now, so roaches won't be able to burrow. The Cyclones can maybe take engagements a little bit better, and there's the stim, as Phobos finally uses that. A roach of Tito burrows, but it gets killed. We have Reaper grenades still being utilized. The natural base of Tito is being pressured, so the Zerg will have to fight to defend that at some point. It might just say, no, the math ain't mathing, but that's not good. Even a drone pull might have helped in this situation, but Tito is in trouble as workers are now getting picked off in transit. An auto turret gets thrown down. These roaches, they're just not able to take this fight, and because of the fact that there's a Raven, yeah, Tito might just lose these roaches, although it is finally going to go in and engage on top of this bio. Phobos notably lifted up 8 Marines into the Medivac, which was not a great decision because the math for Tito clearly flipped, where it said, okay, -8 Marines in a Medivac, I can take this fight now. And while it's been very close, Tito is holding on. It's now 1 base against 1 base, which is not great for Tito, as Terran can maybe sustain off one base a little bit better than Zerg usually. The Zerg army is trying to collapse on top of this bio. The Cyclone is getting a lock on. It gets killed. It doesn't secure the kill on the Roach. Looks like a Queen may go down. What a scrappy game where both bots are still on one base, but now we do have Lurkers from Tito, and Lurkers are very, very powerful. There are Ravens of Phobos, so maybe they won't be as good as we think, as a random Overseer is getting locked on and killed by a Cyclone. Phobos is still just sending its reinforcements across the map. Tito's on 22 drones. Phobos is on 22 SCVs. The Terran base is starting to mine out and will mine out a little quicker because of those mules, but I mean, Phobos, or pardon me, Tito's actually mining out pretty significantly as well. We'll see whether the Zerg bot can get up this natural base. We'll see whether Phobos eventually starts up a second base or lifts off its main base towards the natural, although I can't think of a lot of bots that come to mind that actually do that in these sort of niche games. But both bots are going to be running very short on cash soon. Tito, though, with the new base on the way, will be in a better position if the game goes on long enough, if it can survive, as Phobos is kind of just waffling back and forth, maybe trying to group up its army, and there it goes, as the Terran may be moving forward. We even have a random Corruptor that can actually work on these Ravens, which would be nice. Lurkers, though, are the main anchor of Tito's army. We'll see if they have success or not. If the Terran attacks in a line into the Lurkers, it will be very good. If not, these Lurkers might fall quicker than we think. We do get a lock-on onto one of the Lurkers. Ravens doing their job to reveal them, although that vision, I think, was broken as the Raven backed up a little bit. Tito's got another Corruptor on the way, more Lings on the way, more drones on the way. I think it really just needs more bulky units like Roaches and Hydras to ensure it can stay alive. For now, though, Phobos is afraid to push on in, really respecting these Lurkers, but another Cyclone lock-on, two more Cyclone lock-ons onto the Lurkers of Tito means they will both die. That is really painful as another Lurker burrows. Tito is unburrowing in the face of the Cyclone, but Phobos is doing the right thing here. I'm not sure if it's intentional or not, but these, like, the army's sort of stepping forward, stepping back, and it's allowing these Cyclones to get the good trades. We also have a Medivac flying around, I think maybe trying to drop some units. I think that Medivac would be better off trying to heal up all these injured bio units. Maybe the Corruptor, by some miracle, can drive these Ravens away to protect the remaining Lurkers. Supply-wise, Phobos is just about double the supply of Tito, so things are looking really concerning. We'll see if the Terran eventually gets the courage to actually push on in here, or whether it is just respecting those Lurkers maybe a little too much. Like, the Cyclones are doing what they need to, but at some point Phobos does actually need to go for a big commitment. And I'm just not sure if, like, the programming or the conditions are met for it to actually pull the trigger on top of this. Like, diving on top of Lurkers is always risky business. We do have this mineral wall mined out, so the pathing has maybe been messed with a little bit by that. We've got, Phobos with 2-1 done. So it's got some very nice upgrades. +2 armor is on the way, so the Terran's bio is really formidable, but now Phobos is totally mined out. It doesn't have up a base. It's long-distance mining. If only it would lift off its main base and land it at that natural base location. We've got Lurkers trying to spine some of these Cyclones, but they will never reach them. Tito is getting out more drones, although it's probably pretty saturated at this point with the main base mining out. The Zerg is falling on top of that ramp. We're getting scans dropped. Tito's supply is creeping up, whereas Phobos' production has really fallen off a cliff. The income is vastly in favor of Tito now, and I think Phobos, yeah, may just be broken a little bit. I'm not sure if it's the pathing around the base here, or just the fact that Tito is responding backwards every time Phobos tries to move forward. We get a scan being dropped. Cyclones are moving forward, trying to make use of that, getting some lock-ons. Like, there maybe is a world in which if Tito is contained on 2 bases that Phobos may be able to play this one out, but if the Zerg gets up a third, and oh, there's a third base starting now, I think Phobos will just eventually lose. I think the pathing or something must be broken here. The Cyclones, like, they're still getting value. Like, we get a lock-on onto a Lurker, I'm just curious as to what is holding Phobos back at this point. We're getting an auto turret thrown down. One of those cyclones is trying to lock on as an overseer does go down. So, like, the skirmishes from Phobos are still going quite well if we look at the resources lost. Just Phobos doesn't have the income to back it up. And now the upgrades are still very in favor of Phobos, so a fight could very well go the Terran's way if we actually get one of those, but neither bot wants to commit on in. We've got the Medivacs healing up this bio nicely. Creep is kind of being held at bay. Well, kind of just cleared up at this one spot. It's actually completely bypassed the Terran army and is actually... the tumor must have been killed, so it's not actually blocking the natural base, but Phobos hasn't started up a base yet. We do actually have a mineral bank growing for Phobos, so it might be saving up for a command center, as it's got 266 minerals in the bank, and if it was going to build anything, I think it would have by now, so it's got to be a command center. Tito, though, is transferring drones towards its third base. It's on 38 workers. The Zerg army is growing. The Zerg upgrades are slowly catching up. And we'll just have to wait and see whether Tito can build up an army that makes it confident enough to fight Phobos. Maybe Phobos will fall back or something once it starts this command center. Assuming it starts a command center, we do have the money now. So we'll see if Phobos builds that or if it's completely bricked. And the fact that it's not building anything else makes me think Phobos is just bricked here. So, yeah. I think Tito has probably got this one. As we do have a bit of a... Yeah, we did get a stim from the bio. I think that was another lurker dying there. But okay, yeah, Phobos is done here. I'm not sure what it's waiting for. Maybe it's waiting for its army to move home or a fight that just never concludes or something like that. As Tito is at 49 workers, it's producing lots of Zerg stuff and will eventually overpower the Terran force, so... A scrappy game, but Tito being able to macro up does win out in the end. Phobos, yeah. I'm a little confused as to why it just never made units. We do have the Zerg getting a little bit more bold as the Terran army looked like it was going to loop around there. We get a scan drop, but then it's like, oh, lurkers, never mind, no thank you. Wisely, no thank you, but yeah, Phobos is now crossing the 1,000 mineral mark, so it's just a matter of time. Yeah. Oh, we finally get Phobos waking up as it fires up 3 Marines, a command center, and +3 attack. I don't know why that was. I don't know what it was waiting for. Okay, I was already like, all right, this game's over, and Phobos loses. The position is still not very good for Phobos, but it is moving forward. It's going to get one of the lurkers. The Terran army is very, very stimmed, but Tito's force is completely out of position right now. I think it repositioned to defend the 4th base, and so Phobos is moving in with a bit of a Hail Mary as the bio was just unfortunately overstimmed. The Medivacs were not able to heal all this up. And what could have been a great opportunity turns sour very quickly. The Bioforce does still have those nice 2-2 upgrades. There's still Ravens, but Lurkers are getting some spines off. And yeah, Tito's at 55 drones. Phobos is just getting up its natural base. It's even long-distance mining from its 3rd now, I think. And then the army is still like, all right, let's just hang out here. Yeah, the hope is pretty low for Phobos at this point as Tito is coming on in. The bio just hasn't been able to heal. I'm not sure if the Medivacs are getting too many move commands to actually use their healing beams. Like, they have not been healing to their full potential. As we watch the energy here, it drops a little bit there, but then it stops healing again as, yeah, just too many move commands on the Medivacs, which is something to consider. The micro in them, as Tito is able to clear that army, but if that army was full HP when it tried to go up that ramp, maybe Phobos wins this game, but the Medivacs kind of let us down. The Zerg is able to push across the map and counter, so well done. A very scrappy start to the game. Both bots did eventually try and macro up, just Tito was a little bit quicker with it, rebuilding the hatchery. And yeah, I'm curious as to what conditions or timeout had to be met before Phobos threw up that base. Maybe it was the gases had to be mined out or something like that. We can actually check that. This one is over, but yeah, let's see here. Is it the gases mining out that makes Phobos start saving? Well, it started saving money prior. It just stopped building stuff, which is not great. But then I'm wondering, like, did it finally wake up once the last gas was mined out? I think that might have been it. We'll see. 150 left. 100 left. Or was it something else? Yeah. The problem with having conditions for your bot is that sometimes they can end up in odd positions. Okay, it does mine out the gas, and then it's just like, all right, wait another minute, start up a base. So it wasn't that that eventually prompted it to start the base as some sort of failsafe, but it did eventually, which is good. It was just a little too late. Like, if Phobos starts up the command center right when it has that 400 minerals, maybe it's actually able to hold on and play this one out. And then, yeah, just the medivacs in this situation. Like, we see the Terran army definitely overstims a little bit. This medivac has no energy. These two, there's two medivacs with 200 energy. And they just keep getting move commands, so they aren't actually allowed to heal. Which is why maybe like you want to program your medivacs to hang, I don't know, a tile or two back from your army, and then just let them do their thing and actually heal. It's not often we get situations like this with medivacs not healing, but Phobos may have won this game. Like 2-2 bio, full HP. The Zerg army wasn't that big at this point, but that is it. Thanks for watching, guys. Click that like button if you haven't already. Leave a comment down below saying more bots. If you want to see a rematch, let me know. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. GG.